So today we are looking at calculating the area of a circle, okay? As I said here, you need a calculator, you need a scientific calculator. I'm going to use this one. You could obviously use another one of which I've mentioned in a previous video. So area then. Here are our keynotes before we start working out the area, okay? So the area is the total space inside a 2D shape. Okay, we know perimeter is around the outside, with circles we call it the circumference, whereas area is the total space inside a 2D shape. Before we look at calculating the area here, there are certain lines in a circle of which we need to be familiar with. Okay, those two being the radius and the diameter. Now the radius, as you can see here with different colours, is from the centre of the circle to the outside on a straight line. The diameter is from the outside to the outside in a straight line, but passing through the centre of the circle. So the radius looks like Pac-Man's mouth when you draw a circle with just a radius, and then the diameter is all the way across. So, we've got two separate questions here, and we're going to calculate the area. Now, to calculate the area, we need to use a formula, okay? And now with a formula, we use certain letters. So to calculate the area equals, now we're going to come across a symbol that we use on the calculator, which is pi, okay? Now, pi is a symbol of which represents a value, okay? Now, that value is 3.1, etc., etc. The number goes on and on forever, okay? But we normally round it to 3 decimal places by having 3.142. But we're going to use that as a button here. Now, looking at here, I haven't got the button as on top of the buttons here. You will see the symbol is actually above the times 10 to the power of x at the bottom here. Now, to access that pi button, I need to press Shift and then times 10 to the power of x. It's not like a keyboard where you hold Shift to get a capital letter. You just press Shift and then that button to access that pi symbol. So, we have pi then, so the area equals the pi symbol multiplied by the radius squared. Okay, remember, when two things are touch in algebra, we know they mean multiply. So then, now we're going to use a bit of substitution. Well, we know pi is a button on our calculator. We're going to multiply that now by 6, because our radius is 6, and then squared. Now this part, we can put into our calculator. So pi times 6 squared equals, my calculator says 36 pi, and I press the S to D to then convert it to a decimal, and we're going to round this to 1 decimal place. So I have 113.097335. But as we said, we're going to round it to 1 decimal place. Here's my decimal point. First digit, look at my next digit. 0 to 4, stay on the floor. 5 to 9, like to climb. Therefore, this is going to equal 113.1 centimetres squared, because we're looking at area. And that is to 1 decimal place. So it's a radius. Pi times r squared is our formula. Substitution. Answer. Don't forget your rounding. And then your units of measurement will always be centimetres squared. Now, this circle is slightly different, okay? We know the formula for these questions to calculate the area is pi r squared. However, for this question, you have been given a diameter. Now, there's a direct relationship between a radius and a diameter, okay? Now, a diameter is double the length of the radius, or the radius is half the length of the diameter. So if this is our formula, to create a radius from this diameter, we need to half it. And half of 7 is 3.5. So substitution, pi times 3.5 squared. So then shift times 10 to the power of x, it's got a pi symbol up on the screen, times 3.5 squared, the squared is a little x with a 2, equals, press SD to make 38.5 centimetres squared, and I've rounded that to 1 decimal place already. So to have some steps then, my first step was to write the formula, which is A equals pi r squared. Remember the A stands for area. Second step is substitution, which means I am changing or substituting the letters for numbers. Third step is to calculate the answer. Be careful with rounding. Have a look what the question is asking for. It might be 1 decimal place. It might be 3 significant figures. It might be 2 decimal places. So be careful. And the last thing is to include your units or your units of measurement, which would be the centimetre squared. Formula, substitution, answer, units, and you won't go far wrong. But be careful. If they give you a diameter, you have to half it first in order to get a radius. Don't forget, you need to use your calculator. Good luck. Hope it helps.